Hello, the unstoppable. Men fall in love with the mystery they can't unravel, not the perfection they think they want. It's a harsh truth that eludes most women who try too hard to gain a man's admiration, only to end up fading into the background. Statistics show that while 83% of men are initially drawn to physical appearance, over 70% lose interest within the first few months of dating, leaving women baffled as to what went wrong. So, what really makes a man stay captivated, long after the superficial allure wears off? The secret lies in subtle, almost unnoticeable behaviors that set some women apart, keeping men not just interested but utterly mesmerized. And no, it's not about dressing provocatively, catering to his every whim, or playing mind games. It's something far deeper, more compelling, actions so unassuming they can either leave a man spellbound or drive him away forever. If you think you know what men truly adore, prepare to have your assumptions shattered as we reveal the rare traits and habits that hold the power to keep men irresistibly hooked, yet always yearning for more. Number 1. Embrace their flaws with ruthless confidence. Men are surrounded by images of perfection, airbrushed faces, polished personalities, and a culture obsessed with flawlessness. Yet there's a magnetic allure to a woman who not only accepts her imperfections but highlights them with a subtle, almost defiant grace. It's not about flaunting mistakes or vulnerabilities for sympathy, but rather showcasing them as unique traits that set her apart. When a woman can talk openly about the things that might otherwise make her feel insecure, a scar, a lisp, an awkward childhood, without a hint of self-pity or a need for reassurance, it catches men off guard. Most people are conditioned to hide their flaws, to cover up anything that might make them seem less desirable. But when a woman flips that script and presents her imperfections as part of what makes her fascinating, it sends a powerful message. She's comfortable in her own skin, and her self-worth doesn't depend on approval from others. This kind of woman doesn't avoid conversations that might highlight her weaknesses. Instead, she'll discuss them with a level of nonchalance that leaves men wondering how someone could be so relaxed in a world that teaches everyone to be self-conscious. It's a quality that's not just rare but refreshing. Because the truth is, men don't connect with flawless facades. They connect with authenticity. They're drawn to women who show up as they are, scars and all, because it's a level of honesty that demands respect. It breaks down superficial barriers and makes the interaction feel raw and real. When a woman can effortlessly embrace her flaws and make them part of her identity, she becomes unforgettable. That unspoken confidence leaves men in awe, fascinated by the quiet strength she radiates. It's a form of power that no amount of external perfection can replicate. Number 2. Speak their mind even when it's uncomfortable. Most people tend to avoid conflict or uncomfortable situations, thinking it's better to keep the peace. But when a woman speaks her mind with absolute honesty, even when she knows it might stir things up, it's something that demands attention. This kind of woman doesn't just nod along or stay quiet to avoid disagreement. She says what needs to be said because she values authenticity over acceptance. She's not interested in sugarcoating her thoughts or molding her opinions to fit in. It's this boldness to voice her true perspective, even at the risk of disagreement, that sets her apart. For a man, encountering a woman like this can be incredibly refreshing. He's used to people agreeing with him or shying away from contradicting his views, either to keep the atmosphere pleasant or to gain favor. But when he meets a woman who doesn't hesitate to challenge his ideas, he's forced to rethink what he thought he knew. She's not being argumentative for the sake of it. She simply believes that honesty should come first, no matter how uncomfortable the truth may be. This makes every conversation feel alive. Every interaction feel charged with real emotion and thought. There's something deeply attractive about a woman who isn't afraid to be seen as difficult or opinionated, because it shows she's not looking for validation or trying to be liked. Her willingness to confront uncomfortable truths signals that she has a mind of her own, a strong sense of self, and an inner confidence that doesn't rely on anyone else's approval. This creates a dynamic that men aren't used to. A situation where they have to step up their game and engage on a deeper level, making her presence compelling and impossible to ignore. It's not defiance for its own sake. It's authenticity. And that's where her true power lies. Number 3, refuse to make the man the center of their universe. When a woman refuses to make a man the center of her universe, it shakes things up in ways most people can't imagine. She has her own life, her own passions, and she isn't willing to drop everything just because he's around. This doesn't mean she's indifferent or uninterested. It means she has a rich, fulfilling world that doesn't revolve around any one person. For a man, this is both startling and incredibly attractive because it's the exact opposite of what he might be used to. A lot of women unconsciously shift their focus entirely onto a man they like, making him the primary source of their happiness. But when he meets someone who genuinely prioritizes her own growth, dreams, and well-being over simply being available, it disrupts the usual dynamic. He realizes he can't just be her escape or the reason she smiles. He's got to be worthy of fitting into the busy, fascinating life she's built for herself. There's no automatic place reserved for him just because he showed up. This kind of self-prioritization isn't about playing hard to get. It's about genuinely having a sense of purpose that's independent of anyone else. It's not something she puts on to impress. It's who she is. She may enjoy his company, but if he's not around, her life doesn't miss a beat. She's still diving into her projects, exploring new interests, and savoring her solitude. Men find themselves inexplicably drawn to this because it's rare. It shows she's with him because she wants to be, not because she needs to be. That kind of autonomy forces him to see her as an equal, a partner with her own path, not someone waiting for him to validate her existence. It's a dynamic that keeps him engaged, always wanting more, knowing he'll never fully be able to consume all of who she is. Number 4, own their silence as much as their words. There's something captivating about a woman who's completely comfortable in silence. While most people feel the urge to fill quiet moments with words, small talk, compliments, or light chatter, she doesn't. When she's in a conversation, she's not frantically searching for something to say just to keep the interaction going. Instead, she allows the silence to linger, almost as if she's holding a delicate string between herself and the other person, letting it stretch and tighten without fear of it snapping. This creates a tension that's almost palpable, a space where the most meaningful things often get communicated without saying anything at all. Men are used to women trying to engage them constantly, asking questions or filling gaps to maintain their interest. But when a woman can look across a table, hold a gaze, and let an entire minute pass without a single word, it's unnerving in the most fascinating way. It signals a level of confidence that doesn't rely on validation or reassurance. Her silence isn't awkward, it's commanding. It makes every word she eventually chooses to speak carry more weight, every smile she gives feel earned, and every thought she shares feel deliberate. This mastery of silence speaks volumes. It's an unspoken message that she's not in a rush to prove herself or win someone over. She's there to truly connect, not perform, and in that silence, she invites the other person to lean in, to break the quiet with something genuine rather than empty words. It forces a man to slow down, to really think about what he wants to say, because her calm, measured pauses create a different rhythm, one that leaves no room for superficiality. It's a rare trait that draws him in, making every encounter feel more intimate, more profound, and more like a mystery he's compelled to solve. Number 5, be unashamedly ambitious without seeking permission. There's a certain kind of energy that radiates from a woman who's unapologetically ambitious. She doesn't shy away from speaking about her goals, and she definitely doesn't wait for anyone's approval before chasing them. While some might see ambition as something that threatens traditional dynamics, to a man who truly appreciates strength, it's electrifying. When a woman talks about her vision for the future, her voice brimming with passion and certainty, it's like witnessing a force of nature. Men can't help but be drawn to the sheer intensity of her drive because it's so different from what they're often used to. It's not just about the ambition itself, it's the way she carries it. She's not competing with anyone, nor does she feel the need to play small just to make others comfortable. When she walks into a room and starts discussing her ideas, She doesn't worry if it might come off as too bold or too much. That confidence makes men sit up and pay attention, because it's rare to encounter someone so in tune with what they want and so fearless in going after it. This kind of woman challenges the conventional role men often see themselves in. Instead of being the protector, provider, or leader, they find themselves looking at someone who doesn't need their help, but still values their presence. Her ambitions don't revolve around being accepted by anyone. They're a testament to how deeply she values her own potential. Men start to see her not as someone to be overshadowed or intimidated by, but as a partner with whom they can grow, who will push them to strive higher, dream bigger. Being around her means he has to rethink his own limits, expand his own vision, because her drive is contagious. She doesn't shrink for anyone, and that refusal to dim her own light makes her impossible to forget. Number 6. Destroy the need to compete. Elevate instead. When a woman isn't afraid to walk away, it changes everything. It's not about playing games or pretending to be disinterested. She genuinely knows her worth and has zero tolerance for anything that falls short of what she deserves. Most men are accustomed to women who stick around even when things aren't going well, out of fear of losing them or the hope that they might eventually change. But when he meets a woman who can calmly, almost casually, step back from a situation that doesn't serve her, it's a jolt to his system. The truth is, people tend to value what they think they could lose. And when a woman shows that she's perfectly capable of moving on without looking back, it flips the script entirely. It forces him to confront the reality that she's not going to beg for his attention, wait around for him to get his act together, or lower her standards just to keep him in her life. It's a harsh wake-up call because it exposes how much he's been taking her presence for granted. Her ability to walk away comes from a place of genuine self-respect, not manipulation. It's not that she's trying to teach him a lesson. She simply knows that there's nothing lonelier than being in a relationship where she's undervalued. So she chooses herself, and that's something most men aren't prepared for. They're used to having the upper hand, assuming a woman's fear of being alone will keep her tethered to them. But when she's the one who leaves with grace and no regrets, it leaves a lasting impression. Suddenly, she's no longer the one chasing, but the one he's at risk of losing forever. And that realization makes her presence more precious than ever before, because he knows she's not someone he can afford to let slip away. Number 7. Emotionally unavailable? No, emotionally selective. Men are used to people reacting emotionally, getting defensive, taking things personally, or trying to prove a point. So when a woman approaches problems with a calm, analytical mindset, it's incredibly disarming. Instead of jumping to conclusions or letting emotions cloud her judgment, she pauses, takes a step back, and starts to dissect the situation piece by piece. This ability to detach and analyze isn't about suppressing feelings, it's about seeing things clearly, even when emotions are running high. What's fascinating is that this kind of composure often throws men off balance. They're expecting arguments, raised voices, or passive-aggressive comments. But when she approaches a disagreement or misunderstanding by calmly laying out the facts, it forces him to engage differently. Suddenly, it's not about who's right or wrong. It's about genuinely solving the problem. Her demeanor shows that she's focused on the bigger picture and not just the temporary satisfaction of winning an argument. It's this clear-headed approach that often leads to resolutions that are thoughtful and fair. Men find themselves drawn in, not because she's easygoing or cool-headed, but because she demonstrates a level of maturity and control that's rare. She's not looking to escalate a conflict, nor is she avoiding it. She's willing to dive into the uncomfortable conversations, but on her own terms. This makes men respect her more, not only for her intelligence, but for her ability to handle pressure without crumbling. Being around a woman like this isn't just intriguing, it's refreshing. It invites a deeper level of communication and understanding, creating a space where both parties can express themselves openly. And it's in that space, free from unnecessary drama, where real intimacy and connection are built. She's someone a man can actually talk to rather than just argue with, and that's a dynamic he won't find anywhere else. In a world where many chase superficial attraction and fleeting validation, the traits that men truly adore in women often go unnoticed. It's not about being flawless or trying to mold oneself to fit another's expectations. It's about authenticity, strength, and an unwavering sense of self. Men are drawn to women who aren't afraid to embrace their flaws, speak their minds, prioritize their own growth, and maintain the power to walk away when something doesn't align with their values. These are the women who challenge men to step up, who keep them on their toes, and who turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. When a woman embodies these qualities, she's not just someone a man desires. She's someone he respects, admires, and ultimately can't get out of his mind. She leaves a mark because she's real, unfiltered, and unapologetically herself. And that's the harsh truth. The most captivating women are those who aren't afraid to break the mold and redefine what it means to be truly irresistible. If you enjoyed these insights, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more captivating discussions that challenge the ordinary. Join us on this journey. You won't want to miss what's next. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now and stay blessed.